Yes, welcome along to episode 2 in the brand new series of Upping The Ante in association with Bet365 with David Jennings and Johnny Dineen, counting down to the 2024 Cheltenham Festival. So Johnny, you can see he's sporting a brand new haircut. So obviously the weekend went well if you can afford a haircut anyway. How was it? Jerry Colom you said would win. He did win. There was plenty of other short prices on the card that you said would win, the likes of Down Memory Lane. They did win. Was it a profitable weekend for you?
Just marginally, no. Some of them were very short. No, I didn't get a chance to back like horse like Down Memory Lane. They were just a bit too tight. But no, I did back Jerry Colom. But I started bad on Saturday. Went behind early on, back to first loser in Kelso. Then I laid a first winner in Aintree. So I had to kind of regroup then and take a bit of a breather for a while and claw my way back. So eventually what I won in Saturday, wouldn't buy a bag of chips in here at the same time, okay. but I did get my money back, so I was happy. But overall, I won something. I had no heroics now, really, but I did show a small plus on the week anyway. Yeah.
So we will speak about a lot of performance later on in the show, but there was obviously some eye-catching performances. Jerry Colom ran and won just about. You did back him?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Did you think you were going to collect at every stage?
No, not at all. I mean, you were hunting the horrors like coming away from the second last. Of course you were. I mean, I didn't think he was going to win. Even under running, I didn't think he's not going to win. I said he's going to get beat about 3 parts of a length or a half a length. Do you know what I mean? And I said to myself, I was actually saying like 100 yards from the line, I said that switch that when he was carried out right or left actually, right as you look at the telly, I said that's going to cost him here now in a second. Now he's going to get beat like about a neck or a half a length. But he just managed to force his way up, and which is a sweet little victory now because you definitely had it all but written off, to be fair.
Absolutely. 11 winners at Down Royal for Gordon Elliott over the 2 days. I think he had 13 between the 2 days, 2 at Gorham Park. He was cut to be champion trainer in Ireland. Is there any chance that this could be Gordon Elliott's season?
None whatsoever, no. I mean, this happens every year, doesn't it? Like he dominates Down Royal. Mullins doesn't even run a horse in Down Royal. It's kind of like they take turns in introducing their top horses at these tracks, and he goes to like Down Royal in Navan, whereas Mullins goes to Naas, Punchestown, them kind of places, maybe Leopardstown at Christmas. Like when it comes to Leopardstown at Christmas, it'll probably be the other way around. Mullins win on the races. So look, I think we've seen this movie before, haven't we? Like, to be honest, you know. So
we know the ending, Johnny.
I think so. Yeah,
we know the ending. So there you go. We're going to dissect all the action from last week, and we've got Cheltenham to look forward to and the Navan Racing Festival. So let's get on with the show. So if you haven't joined the Racing Post Members Club yet, now is the time. We've Cheltenham and Navan this weekend, of course. There is 50% off the first 3 months, and here's how to join. So let's get going with our questions from the crowd. And the first question this week comes in from Sean O'Higgins. And it's a big topic at the moment, Johnny Dineen. What is your opinion on removing fences for low sun? Can anything be done about it? And does it change your punting approach when fences are taken out for low sun? So Aintree again at the weekend, disaster.
Yeah, look, it's a thing that has reared its head probably in the last 4 or 5 years more than any other.
So you're, if you don't mind me asking, what age are you?
53 on Thursday.
Yeah. This Thursday?
Yeah, exactly.
We'll have to have a drink after the show. I'll buy you a coffee. So you're in the game a long time, okay?
Yeah.
In the 90s, can you remember fences being omitted for low sun?
No, it seems to be pretty...
Do you just have a bad memory, or...?
No, I think it's a kind of a relatively new... But I would say one thing, there is more... There is more emphasis on health and safety nowadays at the same time. Do you know what I mean? So, I mean, things change and probably change for the better, that there is more emphasis on health and safety. Like one time it was like, just belt away, lads. Do you know what I mean? But nowadays, I mean, you can only see at the weekend with like Sir Graham leaders, anything can happen with jockeys. And I suppose, look, the safety, the health and safety of the horse and the rider and the horse is paramount, really, to be honest. And like it's a thing. I don't have a solution to it. Does it change my views on the races? Of course it does. Yeah. Like, I mean, you're on something that's a good jumper, and they're taking out fences. it's not a good. It's definitely not a positive for you. But then on the opposite side, if you're on a kind of shaky jumper, and they're taking them out, you'd probably be pressing up if you see them taking the fences out. You know what I mean? So like it does alter the races. Like it definitely has to alter the races, because even in Aintree on Saturday, like you get to the last over on the far side, and you've got like an eternity of a run in. So if you have a horse with a bit of pace, all he has to do is get over a few fences on the far side, and they haven't really started racing at that stage. So the three up the straight are out of contention now, so he's not going to be pressurised. Like a horse with a bit of flat pace should probably win from that point on. Like Ruby Walsh says that they turn the races into stamina tests as well. Yeah,
I was just about to say that. My mind.
Yeah. So that probably makes a difference too. With the fitter horse will be suited by the horses or the fences coming out. Look, it's an unfortunate thing. Like, what do you do? I mean,
any solution for us now?
Like, I was reading this for the other day. He said, I thought it was funny. He said, why don't the jockeys wear like stuff that you have like
sunglasses?
Yeah, that kind of stuff under goggles. I said, sure, wouldn't that do it? Sure. I actually forgot about the horses and need to see the fences too.
I know Matt Chapman has been, I don't know if he was tongue in cheek, but has spoken about sunglasses for horses over the years. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
But where, like, it seems to be getting a bigger problem, and it seems to be ruining a lot of big days. And Aintree especially, they've been hit with two of their bigger days. Like the time of year, can we say, okay, go through the data and say, right, these tracks, Aintree, okay, well, look, we can't have meetings here in November.
Yeah.
So you can have them in February, March, April.
Yeah, but you do the same for Leopardstown at Christmas time when they rule out the last hurdle, which ruins the races too.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, and then maybe the sun won't be out at all and you've no racing there. So it's a very difficult thing to, like, bar you put up a kind of a screed or something to block the sun out at certain points in days. I don't see any easy solution to it. Like, and then you've got to judge, and then the sun moves or something around screens and things like that. It's not that easy, I think.
So we have found one problem that Johnny Dineen doesn't have a solution
No,
to.
I certainly don't have a solution for it anyway. I think it's just, I suppose the one thing you probably have to remember nowadays, if you're betting an Aintree of this time of the year, or Leopardstown at Christmas, there is a good chance the last hurdle will be omitted in Leopardstown, and there is a good chance the last 2 or 3. Kelso's another track that falls victim to this kind of stuff. There are tracks that doesn't. Do Cheltenham ever miss the last?
I was going to say, I can't remember Cheltenham being.
I'm not. I'm just trying to think of. I think they do.
I can remember the Friday of the November meeting. Once upon a time, I think that Ben Pauling had a winner of an intermediate hurdle. That was a big gamble. It turned out to be a nice horse. Won on the Friday, and they omitted the last. I think Nico de Boinville rode it. That'll come to me, the name of that horse. Right, okay. But it was omitted that day, I think.
Yeah, but there are tracks that like Foss Lass is another place there in the summer that they don't have any hurdles up the straight. So, look, it's a thing. I suppose maybe they should probably if alert punters that there is a possibility that at this meeting that we will miss obstacles. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. That's our low sun. We have no solution. Our second question this week comes in from Christopher Barlow, and Christopher wants to know, Johnny, he thinks the Prestbury Cup is going to be much closer than people think next March. So all his Ante-Post bets are going on British trained horses because he thinks they're better value. What do you think?
Well, the Prestbury Cup is absolute unpriceable anyway, isn't it? Like unpriceable. Yeah. I would have said me and you would have a better chance of winning Strictly Come Dancing now than the English winning the Prestbury Cup. Would you think? We'd have a chance in that what you call that Strictly thing, is it? That thing?
Yeah, you got it right.
Yeah.
You're letting on now. You don't watch.
You'd be pushing me up in the air.
We do the tango.
Yeah, and the black pants, the black dancing pants that they wear and those things. I mean, like Tom Jones with the banana out the front of it. All the old ones looking up at me, yeah, they'd be very happy with us. That's the same chance we'd have now of winning that thing as England have a winning the Prestbury Cup. Absolute zillion, unpriceable it is now.
Are you cubing this one?
Oh, you could cube a cube if that's a possibility. Yeah. What was it last year? 1810. It was a miracle. It was 1810 too. It was 20 to 8 the year before. I'd like to see a market actually. McManus against the British and Irish. See will they price up that. I'd say he could have as many winners as they Malone.
A very strong team this season, hasn't he?
Oh, absolutely. I think he's going to have a bag of winners in Cheltenham this year. I really do. I could see him
Did you read my column in the Racing Post on Saturday?
I didn't actually know. Sorry. Sorry.
Well, you're plagiarising it now.
Is that what he said? Oh, did you?
No,
Right. Sorry.
I just said what a team he has this year.
Oh, I think so too. Now, as for I think they got 10 last year. They'll be closer to 4 this year.
Johnny.
Yeah, they'll be closer to 4.
Now, it's not a question this week, but I'm going to insert part B of this question, okay? This was what got us to ditch eat last season, okay? A question came in, how many winners would Paul Nicholls have at Cheltenham? And you were adamant, none. You said none, okay? So part B of this question, if England are only to get, or Britain are only to get in around 4 or 5, you think, how many winners would Paul Nicholls get?
What I said about Paul Nicholls, I favoured 2. I favoured 0 over 2. He could get 1. I'd be something similar this year. I'd be going 0 over 2.
He's a good team this year, Johnny.
He's still going to struggle though at the same time. I think so, yeah, I think so. Like he got 2 winners last year, but I think he kind of half rode his luck a bit.
Okay.
He was like I know they're two winners and two big races too. Look, I'd be still favouring 0 over 2 again this year. Like he might have won, but he'll do well to match last year.
There you go. There's the beauty of Johnny Dineen. He's now best buds with Paul Nicholls, and he's still saying that he's going to have 0 winners at Cheltenham. So if you were to put a figure on it now, from the question from Christopher, who's backing all British trained horses because they're better value, he shouldn't be doing that, no?
No, I wouldn't have thought so. No.
And how many winners will they get?
7.
7. Okay. There you go. 21-7 is going to be the score in the Presbyterian Cup to Ireland, according to Johnny Dineen. Question number 3 this week comes in from a good friend of the show, Scott Rotherham. And Scott wants to know, Johnny, would you be a backer or a layer of Allaho at 3-1, following obviously his Clonmel Oil Chase return? 3-1, good price, bad price?
It looks pretty bad price to me, to be fair. I did even say that to you last week that they don't half cut them nowadays, do they? Like from 6s to 3s. Like once the horse can show his 4 legs, they cut him nowadays, don't they? Really greedy. I mean, he went around in a 2-horse school. He got about a 10-length start, and the other one stayed behind it, and they just jumped away. I mean, they could have done the same thing in the Curragh, in the schooling grounds, and they got 36,000 for coming to Clonmel. That was the only difference as far as I could see. Like, at certain times in the race, you'd be looking at him saying, is he even going that well? I don't know. I'd like to see him run again. At 3-1, he's a horrific price, and absolutely horrific. I think so. I mean, if he gave me 6-1 this minute, I wouldn't take it. Never mind 3-1.
Okay, there's people watching this show, they're going to be saying, Johnny, he's 3-1, but he could be 4-6 on the day.
He won't be 4-6 this year. He's 10 years of age.
No messing with you today, Johnny.
Yeah, no, he won't be. He won't be that short unless he puts in some like out of this world performance between here and then. You know what I mean? He will not be as short as other years. He won't. He's too old to be that short in my book. He's missed the year, but he's running. This is his 3rd Ryanair. He's been in the Albert Bartlett and the Aura. He's a lot of battling done at Cheltenham already now. You know what I mean? He's plenty of miles in the clock in hot competitive races. I don't fancy him at all myself anyway, to be honest. And I'd nearly be hoping that he gets to the track unbeaten. I'd take my chances on him now. He's one hairy looking favourite as far as I'm concerned anyway now, you know.
Okay, so there you go. Johnny Dineen is taking on Allaho in the Ryanair Chase. And our final question this week comes in from Bobby Delaney. And Bobby wants to know, Johnny, why on earth was Jerry Colombe cut for the Cheltenham Gold Cup after his performance at Down Royal on Saturday? Bobby was deeply unimpressed by the performance, and he says Jerry Colombe won't see which way Galloping the Shams goes in the Gold Cup. Discuss.
Look, he was cut. He was cut from 7-1 to 5-1, is that kind of stuff. Like it was less. He was more entitled to be cut than Allaho from 6s to 3s, in my opinion. Anyway, you know, like it is a big step out from novice company out to open company, and they were like 3 Grade 1 winners. The 3 of them had a run. It's like he's in a different environment. I thought he did very, very well to win, to be honest. I read there a few fellas are saying, like, would he have the pace for the Gold Cup?
Well, that's the big worry, isn't it?
I think there's no worry. They caught me or what? Pace. He was able to win 2.5 mile Grade 1 in Sandown last year. He went around entry like a car, like cruised around. Do you know what I mean? That'll be the least of his worries.
So that doesn't worry you at all?
None whatsoever. Okay. None whatsoever.
And why do you think there was between the second last and the last, he was tapped for toe with Down Royal?
Look, I suppose, do they go a big gallop in these races? Do they have lob along for 2 miles of the race? Like different kind of race completely. The Gold Cup end to end stuff, like, you know what I mean? Last man standing, where a brute of a horse like him, who's an exceptional performer from the back of the last, like absolutely tears up on the running, doesn't he? Like did it in Cheltenham. Like put it this way, he should be 11 from 11. He all but is 11 from 11 bar the blip in the RSA chase, where I'd say if the jockey knew him again, like he'd have probably kept him up to his work and got at him sooner. I think it's fantastic price at 5-1 for the Gold Cup. I mean, I think it was a good starting point, a very good starting point that he can get down and dirty against these horses, and like his dominance over those horses will accentuate throughout the season, in my opinion. Like he'll beat him by further the next time, and he'll beat him by out of sight by the time they get to Cheltenham. He'll be miles ahead of those horses. Like what's going to beat him? Galloping the Champ. I was listening to Ruby Walsh, did a thing with him, and I think he's very interesting, really interesting pundit now, probably the best around, and he said that a horse.
Excuse me.
Well,
Johnny, I'm standing right here.
I'll have you number 2.
22, I'd say.
But anyway,
okay, what did the great Ruby Walsh say?
The great Ruby said that winning the Gold Cup takes a lot out of a horse, and they may not be the same.
Hell, Bobby Walsh could have told you that.
No, but maybe not be the same next season, and you might even have seen a sign of it already in Punchestown for Galloping the Champ. Plus, Galloping the Champ beat Brave Man's Game, who probably doesn't get the trip, right? Like in or around them, you had Hewick and those lobbing around. Like how good was last year's race too? Like if put it this way, if Hewick and them can be hanging around at the second last, you can be sure Jerry Colomb will be there too. I just think like 5-1. He looks like he was born for Cheltenham as far as I can see. The extra 2.5. The one thing you'd have a small bit of a negative would be good ground. Like if it happened to come up, if it didn't, but like. They'll be trying to have it minimum good to soft to suit like most horses anyway, you know. And
if he did go and win a Christmas, just say in the Savage Chase, if that's where they decide to go, and it turns up soft at Cheltenham, and he's at the top of his game, you'd be very keen.
Oh, absolutely! I'd be lording into him if the ground was soft and heavy, or even more. The softer the ground, the more you'd be having on him. Yeah.
Yeah. You think he's a really top notcher?
I do, and I think if he got really bad conditions, he'd win the Gold Cup at half the track. I think, you know.
5-1, Jerry Colomb for the Cheltenham Gold Cup. Johnny Dineen thinks it's terrific value. And if you do want to appear live on Upping the Ante, get your questions in to uppingtheante@racingpost.com. We will show your video question if you've got a question to ask Johnny Dineen. Get your questions in to uppingtheante@racingpost.com. It's performance of the week time here on Upping the Ante, where Johnny Dineen counts down his top 3 performances of the last 7 days, and it was quite a competitive race this week, Johnny.
Yeah, it was, and I didn't put in Jerry Colomb because I had just previously spoke about him, so I didn't want to, I didn't include him. But even though he would be well entitled to be in the top 3 at least.
Where would he have come for second or third?
I did think maybe. I could have put him in at number 1, maybe.
Okay.
You know?
Okay,
yeah.
there we go. But we had a question
like
about
this
Jerry.
time of the year, you're spoiled for choice. Other weeks, you're not. You know what I mean? But this week, you could have picked 4 or 5. But I went 3.
Number 3.
3. I went with Eel Atlantique. He won a made the hurl in Gordon last Saturday. Like powered through the ground, well backed. I like them when they're well backed in here, because it means that the people behind the scenes know that these are good horses. And the thing about it as well, some of Mullins' other novices.
Stinkers.
Yeah, they didn't run great, and there were a couple of them were beaten late. Even the previous the horse that won the 3 mile, Lecky Watson, give you a heart attack in Thurles, you know. So,
but Eyecatcher de Bois ran poorly,
Eyecatcher was off for about a year and a half. Chosen Witness ran awful. Yeah. So you'd imagine that they're not at peak fitness, and it didn't look a bad maiden hurdle this race. There was no time to wait. There was that horse of D. Carra belonged to Pat Doyle or Sean Thomas Doyle or whatever his name is, and you even had a horse of McManus's Raglan Road. So they looked a reasonably deep race. No time to wait was 8 in the bumper in Cheltenham. This guy beat him 40 lengths, beat him 21 and 19, or else 19 and 21. It's 14 total.
Where does he fit in? Ballymore, Albert Bartlett?
Oh, he's a staying horse, yeah, without a doubt, yeah. Even his bumper form against Firefox and Stellar Story, and he's probably going to be a better horse over hurdles. That puts him if you're up in the Firefox category, I think you're decent. I think Firefox is a right horse myself.
Yeah, me too.
So, look, it was a very, very good start. I thought it was a performance that you could say he will probably carry him into being at least a grade 2, probably grade 1 horse, yeah.
Well, I did Willie Mullins' stable tour on the Racing Post, which came out on Monday. You can still see it online if you're a Racing Post member. And you're going through the horses and you're kind of saying, whatever. You're going through the update. So I did it with him last week, and then we were updating them on Sunday evening, and we were going through all the horses that ran over the weekend. And it came to Ante-Post. His voice changed, his tones changed, everything changed. And he said that was a huge performance.
Yeah.
Huge performance, he said. The way they took him on, the way he galloped away from them, he was kind of blown away. From his voice, I thought he was blown away by Ante-Post. So that was quite interesting. And he was very much, could be a Ballymore, could be an Albert Bartlett. I get the impression, potentially Albert Bartlett.
Yeah,
further he goes,
possibly.
the better he might be.
But they'll be spoiled for choice. They'll have to split them up in that. Like, you know what I mean? So they're going to have big horses for all those races, aren't they? Like so, he could go from one to the other. He'll probably run in something like Lawless and Ace. Then you'll have an idea.
So
you know?
he wouldn't have been probably towards everybody's pecking order of Willie's novice hurdlers going into the season, but he is now, I think.
Well, he'd be up there, yeah. I'd have him as one of his better ones. Anyway, looking at that.
There you go. Number 3 is Ante-Post. Number 2.
Number 2, Irish Point. I went with Irish Point and they won on the Friday. I know he won it was like a 2-horse race basically, but it's another meeting that had the hurdles out and he had to do a lot of running, like from about the third last down to the last. There was no hurdle. They missed the third, at least 2 of them anyway. And look, I think he's a very good horse, Irish Point. I do. I mean, if T-Hupo wasn't hanging around for the stairs in the same connection, same owner and that, I'd have chanced him for the stairs myself. Okay. But I just wonder, will they give T-Hupo another shot and maybe keep this for maybe Aintree, that 2.5 mile race? That like a race be ideal for him. But then if you have Constitution Hill turning up in that.
You're ringing there, Johnny.
All right, 1 second.
This is live television, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, I'll turn it off. It doesn't matter.
Was it Mrs. Dineen?
No. But anyway, look, I thought it was a big effort now. I think he's a really, really good horse. I do. He's a grade 1 horse. At what distance? I could see him going out to 3 mile. Like, I think T-Hupo had his chance last year too. Do you know what I mean? He mightn't get a better chance, and maybe this fella could take over as number 1 for them. For Rob Curran, Gordon Elliott. I think he's a very, very good horse.
And the thing you have to love about Irish Point is his last furlong, it always seems to be his best furlong. Like, even when he was beaten by Marine National, he wasn't stopping in the Royal Bond.
No.
Very good last furlong at Aintree, very good on Friday again.
But I'd say, like, the trip, I mean, you could have had your house in him if it was a 2.5 mile race on Friday. Like, the trip was a worry for him. The trip was all against him. He's the minimum 2.5 miler, anyway, minimum.
Okay, so number 3 is Ante-Post. Number 2 is Irish Point, and Johnny Dineen's performance of the week is?
I went with Brighter Days Ahead. It won the Mayor's race in Down Royal. It was a cracking effort for a horse that had only 1 run at 4-1 on down in Thurles. It was almost a hurling debut, you could say, like, against horses that were, some of these were second season novices like that, and plenty like Birdie or Bus, about 6 runs over hurdles.
Yeah, Bantown Girl.
Bantown Girl is loads of experience. I know it's only 127 rated, but she made a mistake early on. She was out wide, and he pulled her out wide and just like just coaxed her around and look, she's favoured for the Mayor's hurdle. She's entitled to be favoured in my eyes. Like, I mean, it'll take a fair horse to beat her, like 5 or 6 to 1. I've seen worse bets in her. Like, she won't run that many times now, and stays really well too. The old or the new track in Cheltenham will suit her well. Right now, anyway, she'd be the horse to beat in that division anyway, yeah.
There you go. Johnny Dineen's performance of the week is Brighter Days Ahead. So let's hear Johnny Dineen's Eyecatcher of the week now. We've heard the top 3 performances. Now it's time for your Eyecatcher. Plenty to choose from again. Loads all over the place. Where have you gone to? Yeah,
there was a good few. I could have picked any number, at least 3 or 4 of them. I went with Heartwood. It ran in the novice chase against Grange Clare West and Corbett's Cross in Naas on Sunday. It hadn't run with almost a year in a day, or a year less a day. Its previous run is against Hollow Games, but it's still only a 5-year-old. Like, so it's loads of like time left anyway. Now maybe it's tricky to train, but it was well backed in that race, which was, considering the opposition, like, that was a fair statement of intent from someone anyway that thought it could lower the colours of those 2 horses. It looked like a really hot race, and like, to divide those 2, it's a fair effort now for any kind of an animal anyway. So. It's only be 2.5 lengths. Grange Clare West probably got the run of the race out in front, jumped well. Heartwood jumped fine too. Corbett's Cross, maybe fraction disappointing, I suppose. Yeah, maybe so.
But take fraction out of that sentence, I think, Johnny.
Yeah, possibly. Look, it's early days yet. We're missing fences too, and it's a long way to go yet now between here and March, and then maybe in the other festivals. But look, I thought Heartwood, once he stays sound, he's guaranteed winner of a novice chase, and probably a lot better. I'd say he's a lot better than that. Like that was a good run. Like it's only his second run since he came over here. So, like I'd say he looks a very smart horse to me anyway. Yeah, he's surefire winner of at least a few races this season. Probably a handicap maybe or something like that. Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Heartwood, who split Grangeclare West and Corbett's Cross in a beginner's chase at Naas on Sunday, is Johnny Dineen's Eyecatcher of the Week. So it's time for what's happening this week here on Upping The Ante, and what a corking week we have in store. It is the Navan Racing Festival. For the first time ever at Navan, we have 2 days back to back with a Tri-Town chase on Sunday and a heap of greater races on Saturday. And of course, it's the November meeting at Cheltenham. I'll be there. You won't be there?
No, I'm not going, no.
Will you be in Navan?
No, definitely not.
Will you be in your sitting room?
I will, yeah. I'll be upstairs belting away, yeah.
Have you your own room upstairs?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Anybody allowed in?
Only if I'm winning.
Get out!
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So we're going to preview 5 races this week, starting off on Friday at Cheltenham with 2 Grade 2s. The Arkle Challenge Trophy, a trial for the big one at Cheltenham in March. It's first off at 2:20. And Johnny, you called it last week. You said we might have... You managed to find a max of 4 contenders for the Arkle at Cheltenham in March. Judging by the entries here, I don't think any of these are going to be showing up in March.
Oh no, these are like grand annual horses at best now. Like you're talking 130 odd rated horses, and Mighty Thomas could even be favoured. He looks like he might even be favoured. I mean,
yeah. He's one run over fences.
Yeah, he's second to let's be. There was no second to let's be clear about it down Cork. Should have won with an eternity in hand.
Okay, so what's the best of a bad bunch then?
The best of a bunch I would have thought is JPR1. I was listening to Joe Tizard yesterday. He was kind of intimating that he was going to come here rather than for some novices handicap chase on the Sunday. Like, I think this is a very good opportunity for a horse like JPR1. He did well to win in Newton Abbott. It was 3 horse race. ICO, Monville. They weren't bad horses now at the same time. They wouldn't be too bad. And he started off last, got sluggish enough at the start of the race, but finished with gusto and came through and won easy too. And like, not bad hurdle horse. He's 1-3 something, I think, on over hurdles. He's probably going to improve over fences. It's a golden opportunity for him to win a race of this magnitude, I think.
Absolutely. And I did think at Newton Abbott, leaving the back straight, he kind of passed him with ease, didn't he?
He did, absolutely. Yeah. And early on, I was looking at it because I know betting the race, and I was half thinking of opposing the favourite, ICO, because I wasn't sure what he'd do in a struggle. And then I looked back. I know I should have, but anyway, I didn't anyway. But I looked back and I said, I'm lucky here because this has gone already, JPR1. You know what I mean? It's beat after about 2 fences. But he came through and won easy. And I would rate Monville not a bad horse. And I think these are ordinary. I think JPR1 will win this.
I think you're right. I think JPR1 is going to be very hard to beat. Moving on to the Trusted Trader. Do you know the ad? Trusted Trader. Novice hurdle.
No, I don't actually know.
It's an ad in England that comes on. Trusted Trader.
All right, no, I don't know it.
Anyway, it's a Trusted Trader novices hurdle, and this sees the return of Captain Teague. Running like Willie Mullins last season, he brought over Hugh Briscoe.
Yeah.
He's doing something similar here, I think, with one of his summer horses, just to find out. Hermes Allen won the race last year, just to find out what the British are like.
Yeah, he's bringing space tourists, is he?
Yes.
Yeah, you mean. Like, I looked at the prices when they put up the prices. I see 6-4, 13-8 or something. Captain Teague.
Did you get stuck in?
I didn't, because I can't bet like this early in the week. But I was saying, like, how in God's name is this 6-4 in this race? It is an absolute stonewall cert to beat these. I think there's no betting in the wide earthly world. Like, if he cannot beat these horses, these are reasonably good summer horses. It's more or less the same as. It's a carbon copy of Hermes Allen beating Hugh Briscoe and Music. In fact, I would have said myself Music, Drive and Hugh Briscoe had probably better credentials than the ones facing this horse. Do you know what I mean?
And do you think he's a better horse than Hermes Allen?
If he's in or around Hermes Allen, that's all he needs to be. He doesn't have to be a Cheltenham winner to win this. Do you know what I mean? He is an absolute stonewaller, in my opinion, anyway. At 6-4, I mean, like, I would have priced him way shorter than that anyway. I think anything around even is a great price. I cannot see that getting me. I would have said no. He would be a 10-star nap in my opinion anyway.
10-star nap.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Captain Teague. There is a decent enough Irish challenge. The Big Diane. You could see him running reasonably well.
Like you could, Big Diane is 1-3-3. Got hammered by High Class Hero down in the thing. Was lucky enough to beat What Path. Like, I'm just saying, if Captain Teague can't beat the likes of the Big Diane, giving him £2, he's at nothing. Like, he's no future whatsoever. Like, and I'd say Captain Teague is a pretty good horse. Yeah. Pretty good horse. Like, if he's to have any pretensions of doing anything, like they're on about the shallow hurdle, like I could see him winning the shallow hurdle too. Like I think, no doubt, Captain Teague is a good horse. Like he only has to reproduce his first run and he win this by half the track.
So reading between the lines, you fancy Captain
I
Teague?
do a bit, yeah, I do.
Okay. There we go, Captain Teague for Johnny. I won't argue. It's Captain Teague for Johnny in the Trusted Trainer Novices Hurdle on Friday. Moving on to the big one on Saturday, the Paddy Power Gold Cup. Great memories of this race over the years, Johnny. You know, the likes of Cypher Malta, Bradbury Star. I remember Alfarov winning it. Always
right,
a great
yeah.
race. And it looks like a high enough quality renewal this year.
It does, to be fair, but I looked it down through the betting here. Now, I actually thought that the ones at the top of the betting were vulnerable here. I wouldn't back any of those anyway.
So the Real Whacker, first of all, obviously we got stick on the show last year. We didn't fancy Real Whacker whatsoever for the Brown Advisory. He beat who you think is this season's Cheltenham Gold Cup winner, Jerry Colomb. Why can't he win the Paddy Power Gold Cup?
I just think, like, if you have a grade 1 horse, you don't be running him off top weight in the Paddy Power. I don't see the logic behind that for starters. Like, he's rated 162. To carry top weight for a horse of 162 or to lump around 12 stone, he has to be a 174 horse, in my opinion, to win off 162. Like, ratings are fine, but when you're carrying top weight with these big ratings as well, I think you need to be a really special horse to do that. He's coming back a half a mile in trip as well. I don't see the point in running a horse like the Real Whacker if you have a grade 1 horse running him in a handicap off top weight.
Now, we got awful stick from former jockey Paddy Merrigan,
Yeah.
who is the Real Whacker's biggest fan.
That's right, yeah.
And I have to say, he's great fun.
No,
I
he's
love
a good-
watching his
yeah, he's a good
videos. He's a
character,
terrific
right, yeah.
fella. And he will be watching, well, I don't know if he watches anymore because he thinks we're absolutely fakes, I think is the word he uses, okay?
Right.
So he probably won't be watching. But if he is watching, can this season the Real Whacker beat Jerry Colomb again in the Gold Cup? Can the Real Whacker win a Gold Cup?
No, not a prayer, not
Why?
an absolute prayer. No
Why?
chance in the world. Like, the Real Whacker would never again beat Jerry Colomb. You beat him on a one-off day by a nostril, and if they met again, you'd have.
But there was no real fluke because he did all his running. Do you know what I mean? He was bouncing out in front, he was jumping, he was travelling. Whereas
the Real Whacker is a very good horse, no question, doubt about that. No question, but he won't be beating Jerry Colomb again in a hurry at the same time. Now, I don't even know what he's doing in this race, to be honest. I mean, it's a half a mile shorter than the RSA, like
Brown Advisory.
or Brown Advisory.
Did you figure out what they did? No.
No, I didn't actually.
I forgot to look it up as well.
Yeah, I don't really care either, to be honest. I don't know what to do. Sounds like a makeup.
Will if you're
Brown
they're inviting you
Advisory
to dinner someday.
Oh yeah, maybe so. Look, I don't know. I just think it's strange that he's even in the race. I mean, there is a route for those kind of horses, and this isn't the route, in my opinion.
So what wins it?
I wouldn't really overly fancy Stage Star. And I think Unexpected Parties coming in here instead of that novice race. I wouldn't fancy him either, to be honest.
I'm just worried about him staying. I don't know if he's the strongest stayer over 2.5 miles.
I'd say Unexpected Party doesn't get home for a different reason now myself. I have a feeling that he might have a little bit of an issue, I would have thought. And I'm guessing that might catch him out up the hill.
So you're taking on the
I
ones.
wouldn't fancy any of those 3 horses anyway, to be honest. I was going to go with an outsider. I looked down through him, and I went with Harper's Brook because it's getting 2 stone off the top. It's down in 10 stone. It's about 16 to 1. Look, it did an awful act in Sandown the day at the end of last season. There, it turned around on the running and everything. You remember that? I have that claim to fame. I was on that. Remember that What's the Scoop? That yoke?
Yeah, Barry Garrett.
Yeah, I was
Michael
on that,
Buckley,
and I was on Harper's Brook as well. Those 2 things that did that stuff in
got the
Sandown.
double up.
Yeah, well, What's the Scoop? Went into the bar or something. He was running in. He was
Yeah,
running over
2
the
pints.
railing. Yeah,
And he still nearly won.
yeah, I know. Yeah, but look, Harper's Brook is. I think he's an ideal horse for each way because he's going to have to be delivered in the last 50 yards. Because other than that, he could do anything. You know what I mean?
Keelan Woods rides, I think.
Yeah, that's
Having a
right.
good season.
He's used to riding them anyway. Yeah, exactly. I like Ben Pauling as a trainer too. I think he's a good trainer. Yeah. And I just thought there was value outside the top. Even Fugitive.
Well, I like Fugitive.
Yeah.
I just think he's going to get his ground. Like he's battle hardened now. He ran a cracker, I thought, against Seddon in the plate at Cheltenham.
Yeah.
He ran a cracker against Il Ridoto at the trials meeting. I just think he's a horse that I see Richard Hobson has just decided to come here first time out. 153, like he doesn't have that much up his sleeve. But
no, he doesn't, and I didn't think he was like the price of the century, 7 to 1, 15 to 2. Plus, the one thing I'd have against him, even though I give him a chance, I'd fancy him more than the other 3 inside him in the betting. He's been beaten here twice in 2 kind of humdinger finishes, like kind of stuff. Just wouldn't know. See, the heart is the characters now, and he up this place. Look, when you're on about hearts as the characters, I'm tipping up a hearts could talk to you. Do you know what I mean? So,
good crack to it.
Yeah, look, I just think a small each way on that horse. So Harper's Brook.
So Harper's Brook for Johnny. It's Fugitive for me. Moving on to Sunday, and the big one at Navan, the big one of the season is the Tri-Town Handicap Chase. And Johnny, I really like one in this.
Do you? Yeah.
Do you?
Not that I really like one, but I picked out 2 against the field. And then I'll just go for one of those 2.
Okay, well, I hope it's the one that I've picked is one of your 2. I really like the Devil's Coachman, who I think is still well handicapped off 147. Goes really well fresh. If you remember, he won first time out last season at Galway. And I think in the Grand National, he was obviously a leading fancy for the Grand National. It's 3 mile 5, strongly run. I don't think he got home. He travelled through the race beautifully. I think 3 miles Navan, first time out, ground is perfect for him. He loves loads of cutting the ground. I just think he's probably been trained by the race for, obviously Noel Meade, who trains only a couple of miles down the road in Castletown. I think the stars have aligned. Good solid jumper, classy enough horse, almost a grade 2 horse, running off 147. I just thought at around about 9 or 10 to 1, the Devil's Coachman would take the world of beating. Yeah,
I picked out 2. He was 1, but I was going to go him or Hollow Games, and I actually went with Hollow Games.
Yeah, it's hard to know what to make of Hollow Games, isn't it?
Yeah, look, he's a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde. He can throw in the odd stinker to it at the same time. Ran well in the Galway, but after getting kind of a sluggish start away from traps there, he probably would have been a bit like to have been a bit further up, further near the top of the field as the race started. Look, did he run in last year's Arkle? Absolutely disgraced himself completely, didn't he? Like, you know what I mean? So he has an odd stinker in him, but he has course form, and Elliott just like wins a lot of races in Navan, doesn't he? Like, you know what I mean? And I would like the profile of a second season novice in a race like this. There is a lot of horses in these races, although this is a pretty high class renewal of there's less donkeys in this race than there is normal in these kind of races. I think there's less of the old stagers in these. I mean, even up at the top of the betting, there is some good horses in this race. It's a better Tri-Town than other years, I think. Okay. And like Hollow Games is the one I'd go for. Like, and I can see your horse running right. I'd go for one of those 2. I'd go Hollow Games, but again, it is a tough race at the same time.
Hollow Games for Johnny and the Devil's Coachman for me. The Greatwood Handicap Hurdle is a big one at Cheltenham on Sunday. A Willie Mullins trained favourite, owned by Paul Byrne. It is Willie, isn't it? It's not Emmett.
It is Willie, yeah.
It's Willie, owned by Paul Byrne, who's been a big plunge horse in the last 48 hours. Lovely looking profile.
Yeah, he's definitely a runner. Yeah, he's definitely.
Remember the name of it?
Only a Matter of Time, isn't it?
Very good.
Yeah.
It went from my mind, so very well done. Only a Matter of Time.
Only a Matter of Time. Yeah, it looks nicely weighted. In Nestline at the bottom there. It's not even a big field, is it, this year? Like,
no, not a max. No.
Not a max. So, it looks a good renewal though. It looks a good renewal. And saying that, it's getting a nice bit of weight. The one I went with was tentative now, was Gin Coco.
I like Gin Coco.
Yeah, it's only 2 pounds up from last year, and he was second to I Like to Move It, and has it a run.
And funnily enough, we spoke about hurdles and fences being omitted for Low Lion Sun. I think this race last year they didn't jump the last.
Did they not?
No, they didn't. Do you remember I Like to Move It, the pull clear? I don't think they jumped the last.
They did not, yeah. You could be right. You could be right. I have a feeling they have missed the last hurdle in Cheltenham before, actually, yeah. And look, if I had to pick one, that's the one I'd go for. But again, like, it would be, I think I'd give the Greatwood hurdle a swerve myself now this year. Okay. It's a word. I'd find it hard to back the winner of.
Okay, I thought Gin Coco, I liked his return to action at Foss last time. I mentioned him in last week's show in one of the questions from the crowd. I think he could be a big player in the Greatwood. I thought of that horse who won that hurdle, and I didn't look it up. I swear to God, I didn't look it up. He won a hurdle race that was omitted. It was a hair breadth. Do you remember him? There was a big plunge on him the Friday
yeah.
A hair breadth won that race when the last hurdle was omitted. We're not going to preview it, but very quickly, the slower chase, John Bon v Edward Stone. Whose side would you be on?
Is John Bon running? Is he running? Actually, John Bon turns up, there's no offers, none whatsoever.
Edward Stone, no?
Not a prayer. John Bon will mangle that thing. He will.
That thing is a good thing.
I know.
He's a very good horse.
If John Bon is going to be a champion chaser, he'll beat those horses.
Edward Stone, very impressive in the Tingle Creek last year, first time out.
I don't care what he was. John Bon will beat Edward Stone every single day of the week, in my opinion, anyway.
Okay, there you go. John Bon in the slower. And that's what's happening this week. It's going to be a big one. It's a midweek treat time here on Upping The Ante, where Johnny Dineen gives you one horse to back on either Wednesday, Thursday or Friday. So Johnny, midweek treat time. Wednesday, Thursday or Friday, what day are you going for?
I'll go Friday. I'll have to put in Captain Teague. I mean, I can't be...
We haven't heard much about Captain Teague so far today.
I can't be as strong as I am on him and not put him up anyway. Jeez, I think he's a cert. I do. I think anything around even money. Look, I just think if he can't beat these, he's going over. And I do.
Anything to add to the compelling case you made earlier about Captain Teague? It's going to be a very interesting show next week if Captain Teague does not deliver the goods. So I fear for Johnny, but there you go. Johnny's midweek tweet is Captain Teague, who runs in the 3:30 at Cheltenham on Friday, and Johnny thinks he's a
Stonewall cert, yeah.
Stonewall, certainly. Captain Teague in the 3:30 at Cheltenham on Friday is Johnny's midweek treat. Now it's time for DJ versus JD, our weekly charity bet competition. And JD started with a winner last week, and DJ didn't start with a winner because Brewing Up a Storm disgraced me in a 3-runner race at Aintree. Let's just say he didn't brew up any sort of a storm whatsoever. He was as calm as anything and was absolutely hammered by West Balboa, and it was a terrible selection. So I apologise to everybody in advance, but I think I've found a nice one this week. Johnny, very well done.
All right.
Nappers Hill, you can see the score on the screen there. Johnny is plus 55 quid and I am minus 50 quid. So 1 out of 1 for Johnny. Great start to the charity bet series. We're up and running already. So this week, do you want to go first or second?
I'll go second, so you go first.
I'll go first, okay? Okay, Johnny, after disgracing myself last week in a 3-runner race where I only beat one horse home, okay? I did a lot of study, and obviously I'm in Cheltenham this weekend, and I think I found one, okay?
Good.
The 2:55 at Cheltenham on Saturday. It's the Paddy Power Games handicap hurdle, 3-mile handicap hurdle. David Pipe won the race in 2014 with a horse called Catco, who came from France and ran off a mark of 124, okay? Fast forward 9 years, and David Pipe is a horse here that came from France, that's run off a mark of 124, an identical mark to Catco, coincidentally. It's a horse called PlaceNet, who I think could be really well handicapped. He's 8 to 1 with Bet365. I'm going to put my 50 quid on the nose on him. In his stable tour, he said he was a nice addition to the yard, that he was going to start off at this meeting. That was 2 weeks ago. Looking through his form, like he has a Racing Post rating of 144 over fences on his CV. He's got a Racing Post rating of 139 over hurdles. He has loads of experience, and he's running off an English mark of 124. I think they've let him in lightly here. I think the ground is going to be ideal. There's going to be loads of cut in the ground. He's got any amount of form, bottomless form and bottomless ground he has. It's a stab in the dark. We obviously don't know the French form that much, but just the profile of the horse running in this race after coming from France off this mark, you're only going to get one shot at this mark, and I think this is the shot that David Pipe is going to get with PlaceNet, who I think is great value at 8 to 1 with Bet365, and that is my charity bet this week. Johnny, what have you got for us?
I'm just going to keep it small but simpler than that, and I won't be going back 9 years and then going back a horse that won about 3 weeks ago, a horse called Nelson. He won
Nelson. Yes.
He won a novices handicap chase in Carlisle.
He
was due to run in Carlisle last Sunday actually against Coon Risk, and the meeting was called off. I see him in another novice handicap chase in Wetherby on Saturday.
What time?
12:44.
12:44 Wetherby on Saturday, okay.
It's not the first race, so they must be starting in the middle of the night or anyway.
Yeah, bit early for you on Friday night,
I think so. But look, there's about 10 in it. I hope that he'll be some way back. Well, he can't be that short. It is a handicap at the same time. I was impressed with him that day. His jumping was magnificent, and he's like a horse that should run up a sequence up the north. I'd say he could even be competitive coming down.
Yeah, Nicky Richards has started the season quite well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I'd like deep ground too. Soft ground is very important to this horse too. I think he'd win now, to be honest. Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Nell's Son. We've no prices yet, but we'll try to get you the best price we can. Nell's Son for Johnny in the 12:44 at Wetherby is his charity bet, and I'm with PlaceNet at Cheltenham on Saturday. That is JD versus DJ, or DJ versus JD, whatever way you're having it yourself. And it is our weekly charity bet competition. Let's hope we have another winner this week, Johnny. So folks, now it's time for the most important segment of the show. It is the festival teams, where myself and Johnny are going to add, or maybe not, to our lineups for the festival in March. So I got the first member of my team last week, Johnny, in Corbett's Cross, who I absolutely jinxed. It was, let's just say, it was a lacklustre performance at Naas. What did you make of it?
Look, it's early days yet, and he was a bit skewy at the fences, and he was a bit gassy, he was a bit free, wasn't he? Like, you know what I mean? And the other lad got out in front and bossed the race. And this time of year, you don't know how fit horses are too, so I wouldn't be writing them off just yet now. I suppose you wouldn't be pressing up either, would you? Like, I don't think. But no. Look, Look, it's a long
You wouldn't
way.
be wearing a balaclava or wearing a mask or anything, but I'm a bit embarrassed walking in the street after picking him.
Look, he could still win the race you nominated for it. It's very early days yet now, to be honest.
So Corbett's Cross is on my team. After starting with, let's just say, a whimper rather than a bang last week, I'm going to take a breather this week, and I'm not going to have any selection added to my team this week. But Johnny Dineen, you have a debut member of your festival team in 2024. The moment has arrived. Johnny said to me early on, he goes, I don't think I'm going to pick Anton in the first few weeks. I'm going to ease myself in. But the call came yesterday from Johnny Dineen, and he said he has one. So Johnny Dineen, the first member of your 10-strong team for the 2024 Cheltenham Festival is
Dino Blue for the Mayor's Chase. Now, originally I was actually going to put up Thelem, do you know that French horse?
Yeah.
Because I'm speaking to guys and they tell me that can't get beaten. The stairs hurdle, it is miles better than gold tweet and all that kind of stuff, you know.
Well,
but it ran.
You and French horses now wouldn't have a great relationship.
No, but it ran last week then and bolted in, so it's got into price now. That that could finish up short in the stair hurdle. But look, I'm going to leave it now because I've missed the boat anyway until
So
then.
you were very tempted, were you?
I was, the way people are. I'm told that like it's 2 stone better than gold tweet, and sure, gold tweet is more or less the same as Dashel Drasher, who nearly won last year. So it's going to be hard to beat probably that French horse once in the rise. But anyway, look, I'm not on the boat, so I'm not going to get on it now anyway.
I said the way you spoke with them French horses last year, they wouldn't let you on the boat.
No, yeah, but I said this is a different kettle of fish now than last year. So, but look, I'm going with Dino Blue.
Okay.
I think it's a race that not that many can win it. It's the Mayor's Chase. It already has a rating that's probably capable of winning it. Like it's last year was second in Pervious in Cork. It has a nice bit of experience built up now as well. You know what I mean?
In handicaps as well.
Yeah, in handy ran in the Grand Annual, ran well, and then came to Fairyhouse and won. Came to Punchestown and won. And you know, very few horses jumped the last behind in Punchestown and win in chases, and it did that as well. It went to Naas the other day, like it's entitled to come on for the run. Jumped with alacrity in the word for it. This is like absolute.
Would she have won if Sir Gerhard stayed up?
Look, I had something small on her now, and I was quite happy with her anyway, to be honest. Like, obviously, when you see ones disappearing behind you, you're happier again, you know what I mean? But like, at the time, I thought she was going better than Sir Gerard anyway. Now, she didn't finish out wonderful, like, because Field Door got the better of Field Door close to within a length and a half of her. But I think she's definitely a more likely proposition than Allegory de Vassy.
Do you?
Oh, without a doubt, without a shadow of a doubt.
So Allegory de Vassy is obviously favourite.
Yeah, inside in the betting, but by the time comes, like, I'd fancy Dino Blue to be inside that. I don't rate Allegory de Vassy. Had its chance last year, led on the run in, got well beaten in the finish by Impervious. Now, Impervious is a victory over Dino Blue 2 down in Cork, like, so there's no disgrace in that, but I think Dino Blue has more upside to Allegory de Vassy. I'd say he's a stronger finisher than Allegory de Vassy. And I think myself that the only way you're going to get done here is if there's a novice comes in and pips you. Because the ones that you can see at the moment, I think Dino Blue is miles better than those.
So something like Zenta or something like
Zenta or maybe Ashrow Diamond are the kind of 2 ones of a small.
Well, Ashrow Diamond's saying over hurdles.
Is she?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good news. Well, Zenta is owned by the same people, so that's
good point. Yeah.
That's unlikely that they'd run the 2 of them. Like, maybe they could run the 2 of them, but. Zenta's only a 4-year-old. She could even run in the Arkle or something like that. You know what I mean? That's a race they'd like to win too. I think 5-1 is good odds. I think
11-2, Johnny, with Bet365.
Is it 11-2? Yeah.
11-2 from 6 o'clock with Bet365. Dino Blue. The final question I have for you on Dino Blue or Dino Blue, whatever you have in yourself. Trip.
No problem in the world. Absolutely.
Has she ever ran over 2.5 miles?
She has, I'd say. She didn't win over 2.5 miles though, but she has run over 2.5 miles. I'd say she guaranteed to get 2.5 miles myself.
Okay.
And I'd say, like, with her jumping, like, it's more fences even, and that'll even suit her in my opinion anyway. I wouldn't think that's any problem, any issue whatsoever. I would fancy her fairly strong anyway. Okay,
so you always say that at this time of year you want the horse to be 3 times the price you think it will be on the day. So what price do you think Dino Blue could go off on the day?
I could see her being 5-6-4 on the day, yeah. As I don't see huge opposition in that race. As I said, I do fancy her really strong to beat Allegory de Vassy. Impervious is still in the bet and it's not even running, you know what I mean? So you're into English mares and that have 0 chance. So, like, there isn't a big pool in this race. There isn't a big pool of horses in this race. Like this time last year, you could have said, you could have probably backed Allegory de Vassy and Impervious at around 9-2 and 4 and 5-1. You know what I mean? They finished up like whatever price they were, 5 to 4 and whatever price the other one was. Yeah, you know, so I'd say you'll have a similar situation this year, that there won't be many in this race and there won't be many in it with a chance. And bar Novice comes out and pips me, I think this is a cracking bet.
Okay, there you go, 11-2 about Dino Blue for Johnny Dineen in the Mayor's Chase. Is his first member of his 2024 festival team. So folks, as we know, it's safer gambling week, and here in Upping The Ante, we always preach only bet what you can afford to lose. Johnny, any tips for our viewers on Upping The Ante? It's safer gambling week. I know on Saturdays and in particular at the weekend, you're quite selective.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think you try and pick your races and keep that amount of races as a maximum, and even whittle them down afterwards. You mean, but don't get drawn into maybe like chasing your losses midway through one race that you hadn't even contemplated betting in, and maybe draw a line on maybe on a figure or what you're going to actually can afford to lose or are willing to lose on any given day. That's quite important. That often happens to me, that I could fancy horses maybe late in the day, but I've already reached my quota, so I don't really bother backing them then. You know, just leave them off. There's always another day. That's the one thing you should always think in gambling. There's always tomorrow.
And you always say some days are just, things are not going for you, and you just you just leave it.
You very often you get a feeling from early on. You get a bad beat early on. You say, I have a feeling this is not going to be my day. You know what I mean? And if you get a fortuitous win, you probably think, yeah, this could be me. You know what I mean? That kind of way. Look, it's how you think yourself and that. Look, everyone's different too. I mean, like every people looks at whatever any aspect of gambling differently. So look, that's what I would do anyway. You know what I mean? There
you go. It's safer gambling week, and here in the Upping The Ante, we're saying only bet what you can afford to lose. So here at the Racing Post, we're trying to make studying form and looking at our race cards as easy as possible. Take a look at this.
You spoke, we listened. Introducing Race Cards Redefined. 3 brand new and unique race cards tailored for your needs. Our new and improved standard race card is the punter's favourite and is everything you need to make your selection. Get the maximum amount of information in the palm of your hand with Expert View. Cover all areas and get all the same information as our newspaper. With Compact View, you can make a quick decision on who to back. View more runners and more odds on one race. Which race card will you choose?
So what a way to end the show. We have the first member of Johnny Dineen's festival team in Dino Blue for the Mayor's Chase, and that is it. That is week 2 done and dusted. Plans for the week, Johnny? I presume you'll be sitting down watching racing all day, every day, Saturday and Sunday?
No, Saturday's a bad day for me now.
Oh.
Yeah, bad day for with kids and matches and things like that. You know what I mean?
Did you have those kids for?
I know, but you listen, I should
You
look.
weren't thinking of the future, were you?
No, well, look, good to
They're
have them
great.
at the same time. Absolutely, yeah. And I get just the one thing I get enjoyment out of is going and watching them play the sport and that. So
absolutely,
one of them is a match Saturday at 11. The other fella is a match within about 10 minutes away at 12.
Oh,
so I have
Lord.
to drop one and watch the first half. Didn't go over and watch the other fella. Didn't come back and collect the other fella. Now back. I'll stop. But look, that's it. Yeah. That's
So
it.
what will you do? Will you record the racing, or what will you do?
No, I'll be watching it on my phone and flick on the sideline and then looking up and looking down, looking up. But I'll have an idea what races I want to. What I'll do is I'll only probably have, say, 6 or 7 bets.
Okay.
And so I'll know the times. So it's at 12:15. I'll know the time to watch, or 12:40 or whatever. So it'll be half time and then we'll watch it or whatever. You know what I mean? So
Okay, so just say we'll pretend, okay,
Yeah.
that Captain Teague is running on Saturday, okay? I know he's running on Friday. So Captain Teague is running at just say 12:30.
Yeah.
And what's your 2 sons called?
Jack and Harry.
Okay, Jack and Harry, okay? Jack and Harry have their big games on Saturday, okay?
Yeah.
I'm giving you the choice now, okay? Jack and Harry to win both their games, or Captain Teague to win. Which do you pick?
Oh, stop! They don't even. Not even a choice. Captain Teague all the way. Stop!
And the Father of the Year award goes to Johnny Dineen. So that's Saturday. And Sunday, will you get to watch
Sunday I have a freebie now. I'll be able to sit down and watch them all day long. Yeah. Sunday suits me a lot better. But the quality ratings, obviously. But I do watch the races when I go home then on Saturday evening. You know, are you okay? The replays are good, actually.
It's
Yeah,
great,
And then you hear what fellas saying after. It's good too.
You can also you can also watch them on the Racing Post.
I know, yeah. You can watch them, and I should have so many ways of watching them nowadays. Is right, yeah.
Yeah, you can indeed. And there's 50% off the first 3 months if you become a member of the Racing Post Members Club. So Johnny, enjoy the football at the weekend. Best of luck with Captain Teague on Friday. Hopefully it's a profitable week and we're back here same time, same place next week at 6 o'clock. But until then, I've been David Jennings. He's been Johnny Dineen. Thanks for watching Upping The Ante.